So you want to be an architect? Spoiler. It's not about drawing pretty boxes in PowerPoint. It's about trade-offs, politics, and realizing that the real job is organizing chaos. Welcome to The Architect's Lens, where we decode the shift from engineer to architect.
Hello, Savi.
Hello, Nenad. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very good, my friend. Very good.
Great. So it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've both been doing our stuff.
Yeah. True. So, Savi, will you take us into our new session?
Okay, so we're talking about something very, very interesting. I think the audience will find it a lot of fun. We are talking today about how do you go from an engineer to an architect? What's that tradition like? What's the mindset? And what they don't teach you to make that
Mm-hmm.
shift, right? And
Interesting. Yeah.
to my mind, when you say architect, the traditional wisdom is think technology, think architectural patterns, think best practices, think all of things software, or even if you're a little bit more mature, then think the business side and patch them together. Yeah, but one of my bosses used to say an architect might not be the smartest coder in the room, but he or she is the smartest at organizing chaos.
Yeah, that should be true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
What's
also
your thought?
think, yes, that you have how to say, kind of a mature view, right, on architecture, and
Okay.
as part of, I would say, what is kind of a common understanding that I tend to bump into, and that's, architects are like guys sitting in this ivory tower
Mm.
issuing approvals or
Yeah.
condemnations and making you rework everything from scratch, right? This is
And
like the architect.
and taking months and months to review something.
Yeah, and just coming just at the end when you were
Yeah.
ready to click deploy, he says, oh,
Nah,
no.
nah.
No. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is what I find to be kind of common view on what architect is, right?
Mhm.
And of course, maybe throughout time and how organizations mature, this role of course shifts, and definitely architect's role is not the same as it was like 20 years ago,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But this kind of, again, loosely conceived architecture roles
Mm.
are sometimes not what I would call an architect, right? Not something that fit the description, right? So today I find that term used pretty loosely, I would say.
Okay. So what's a real architect in your head?
So I maybe have kind of a pragmatic view, or
Mhm.
just for me, first, like, quality of an architect is common sense, right? Uh, yeah,
You
common
went
sense and
straight for it, didn't
structure.
you?
Yes.
No sugarcoating, no Kubernetes, no this, that, jazz. Straight
Yeah,
common sense.
but
Okay.
this is the prerequisite, I would say, for a good architect. Those are the two qualities, like structure, meaning well organized, and hopefully, has the skills to organize others,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, and of course, being able to think through stuff,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Uh, I mean, it's not to go into like jargon, like I don't know, systems design or something, like
Yeah.
practices of thought or whatever. but this kind of common sense, right? These are the steps I need to do in order that I reach my end goal with, least amount of chaos and problems down the road, right? And
Mhm.
this is kind of a straightforward goal or idea, and then you just apply, okay, your DevOps, your Kubernetes, your, I don't know, microservices, and you try to kind of guide them by this one clear vision, so to speak, right? And you understand what's involved. You understand, what are the risks, what are the consequences of your decision. You are able and capable to present this in human understandable form, right?
Mm.
Not in some
Yeah.
mumbo jumbo jargon, but you're able to interpret your findings and your conclusions and ideas, so that they are understandable to a kind of broader audience, right?
Mm.
Yeah, that's what's your view, right, on architects in particular.
In particular. Okay. So I've seen different kind of variations in this species, if I can
Yeah,
call it that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So some guys tend to be so technology fanatic that
Mm-hmm.
they go deep into this tool versus this choice of framework or
Mm-hmm.
this technology stack, that they sort of lose an eye toward what the bigger goal was and what are we trying to solve here. They
Yeah,
get too fanatic about the technology details. I've seen others to be so hands on that they literally say, guys, you're a bunch of buggers, you don't know anything, let me code the damn thing for
yeah,
you. Yeah, I know I can do it best. And they push people away that way.
yeah. But this is something that kind of ties into what you said initially, that architects are generally associated with technical skills or
Yes,
technical background,
yes.
right? And usually it is the career path, from an engineer to architect, right?
Correct.
Where you once a coder, always a coder, regardless of what's beside your name.
Yeah.
Uh, so in that sense, this definitely applies, and these are also my experiences. You have architects who just cannot be on the bylines; they need to be coding throughout, and
Yeah.
need to have that kind of an impact, right?
Okay,
And they.
let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
Is hands-on coding a prerequisite for being a or okay, let me rephrase it. Is hands-on coding almost a requirement to be known as a good architect today? Or
Uh,
you've done it in the past, but do you still have to do it today?
no, coding.
I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just
No, no,
telling you.
and from my personal experience, coding is the, you know, last skill you want in a good architect.
Okay, why do you say that? That's very
No,
important. Why do you say that?
because there is this kind of frame of mind that you were
Mhm.
in, right? As
Mhm.
a coder, as a, I don't know, business analyst, as a business person, right? And this is your basically comfort zone, and this
Yeah.
is your fallback, and this is, I mean, your source of expertise in the end. uh, and in a certain way, if you're a hammer, then everything is a nail, right? Then everything looks like a
Yeah.
nail. So
Yeah.
uh, it helps being an coder,
Mhm.
but you're not just a coder when you're I mean, architects are not coders, and you
Correct.
should never allow an architect to write code. Yeah, that's I firmly believe that, again, from my personal experience. Architecture is, again, about a big picture, whether
Yes.
it's like in a single application where, I don't know, you have hundreds of modules or services or control. You need to understand the bigger picture, and architecture needs to understand the goals, the value of that what you're building, and how to most efficiently, build that value with certain architectural characteristics like resilience, fault tolerant, I don't know, scalable, whatever it is fitting for the use case. So you always need to be above whatever is the core thing that you're doing, right? And if you start meddling, you will start meddling everywhere, and you will never finish anything, or it will not be, because if you want to finish, you need to, dive deep. You need to be a coder. Then you're not an architect.
So I asked ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and Copilot to give me a definition of what is an architect, and to take 4 or 5 principles and split the percentages among them.
Okay.
And here's the best answer from Perplexity that I liked. Perplexity said an architecture is 50% tech, 50% people, and another 100% politics and persuasion.
Correct. Yeah, I like that.
That is a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I mean, definitely. And this especially, when you go up the architecture elevator, right? And you got, you're the higher you are, the more politics you're dealing with, right? And top levels are mostly politics, zero tech, and people, right? Mindsets, culture, and all that mumbo jumbo, soft skills, etc. So that is definitely true. But again, the higher you are, let's say you have a bigger impact, wider, let's say, but you're far removed from coding or specific product solutions. You try to, especially enterprise architecture, teams that deal with like organizational structure, processes, long-term roadmaps, then you're not coding, right? And if you love coding, then you will not love being that kind of enterprise architect, that's for sure.
Okay, let's double click on that, right? So let's say if I can segregate those two roles, let's say a solution architect and an enterprise architect.
Okay.
Right? So a solution architect is more on one product, one vertical, a smaller scope of work, solutioning for that, and then wants to grow into an enterprise architect, which is pan enterprise, multiple products, all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
What's the mental shift required to grow from a solution architect to an enterprise architect? And what are the things he or she needs to know that, hey, this is what I will do as an enterprise architect, so that you can figure out if you want to go that direction or not?
Yeah. So the mindset shift is, of course, the object of your architecture. If you're a solution, you design a product and try to make it more efficient. Enterprises try to design enterprises, right? Enterprise architecture tries to design an enterprise, and it's a different goal, right? It's different in terms of technology is means to an end. And the means to an end could be not to modernize, not to invest, because you will, focus on different areas of the enterprise. So it's different ball game, so to speak. It's the different sport altogether, I would say, and especially for like large enterprises where it's a mix of business architecture, where it's a mix of organizational structure, something that is long term. So it's something I would say completely different. and you need to have that, I would say, affinity. Again, speaking that architects come from technical backgrounds, and that being a solution architect is mostly tech,
Check,
right?
right.
And enterprise architecture is definitely least amount of tech, right?
Mm.
Your contact with technologies, whatever tool you have to draw diagrams, boxes
Mm.
and arrows, and that's the technology you get in contact with. There's no Kubernetes clusters or whatever, right? You can just make, like, you need to understand, for instance, if you're a solution architect, you will try to figure out what is the technical side of Kubernetes that may or may not help your product.
Yeah.
Uh, and as a enterprise architect, you would need to understand the longevity of Kubernetes. What
Mm.
is the skill level of a company? Are there gaps? How can I fill in those gaps within
Yeah.
a year? Right.
Yeah.
I will need then my kind of a counterparty in that will be a HR. Guys, we need people with this kind of skills, with
Upskilling.
this kind. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you need to think not just tech. You need to think, okay, do I have people that will be able to support this product in a year? Do I
Yeah.
have the skills? What skills will the organization need in
Me.
2 years? How
Mm.
can I start? This is one. This is kind of it's not just I'm need to keep an eye on technology. I need to keep an eye also on people that are
Mm.
building the technology.
Mm.
And of course, what are some new trends in technology that are coming? Is it relatable? Is it not?
Yeah.
Is it something that we should do a
Think about.
POC, and
Yeah.
who will do it, right? There are organizations that kind of foster this experimenting within the enterprise architecture,
Mm.
where you have enterprise architects that will do a POC actually, right? Kind of
Okay. Yeah.
like a delivery team
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
examine. And for instance, I do like that kind of an approach where
Mm.
enterprise architect can be physically involved in a specific decision that he will make, right? It's not
Mm.
just reading bunch of papers and I don't know, right?
Yeah.
So
Otherwise, how does that person stay in touch with technology, right? If you don't practice it, maybe
yeah,
not designing large scale applications, but at least you should have a
yeah,
sense of the tech, right?
yeah. But this it depends on which company you're the enterprise architect, right?
Mm.
If
Mm.
I'm an enterprise architect at, I don't know, Revolut, which is
Yeah.
neobank technology
Mm.
based bank, then I must be in touch with
Yeah.
technology,
Yeah.
like heavy. If
Yeah.
I'm, I don't know, enterprise architect of
For the
Walmart,
100-year-old
well,
bank, then no.
no, but different organization like Walmart, like largest retailer,
Yeah.
right? No, I don't need to know cash
Mm.
registers, ERPs,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
right. I need to understand how they work. I
Mm.
need to understand what's total cost of operations, what
Mm. Mm.
boxes I need to connect, and how.
Yeah.
Uh, so maybe not so much like techie, right?
Mm. Mm.
But have an overall view on all the components that make up this organization. So yeah, it's different. It definitely depends on the organization, right?
Yeah. Yeah. True.
And what do you think is the most critical like characteristic? Like at which point you can decide, okay, this guy will be a good architect or this guy will not be.
That's a good question. I think if you see somebody taking a bigger, broader view of things,
Mm-hmm.
then that's a sign that it is an enterprise architect material,
Okay.
right? And a broader view of things, not just making things work, but around things like scalability, things like pluggability into the other entire
Mhm.
ecosystem. Then, if tomorrow I go from 1 million to 10 million users from one country to 12 countries, how does my
Yeah.
architecture scale up? What do I need to do? If a person can think on those lines, then I think it's more of a higher architectural role. But
Mhm.
at the same time, like you said, go beyond technology also and think about, am I bringing in random technologies just for the sake of it because I went
Yeah.
to a sexy conference and I heard five cool use cases? But does
Yeah.
it fit into my enterprise? Are
Yeah.
do we need to build for that technology, or am I just running another race?
Yeah.
That level of common sense. I think those are some of
I
the
told you, common sense. That's
points.
that's the key ingredient, right?
That's very
Everything
hard to
else,
find. Very hard.
yeah, yeah. But this is, I mean, it is especially, you know, because if you're higher on this architecture elevator, right,
Mm.
the decisions you make have a bigger impact.
Bigger impact. Yeah.
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 So how you are structured, right? So it means, and it adds to the your architect's persona, right? If
Mm.
I am the guy that, I was an engineer and I like all the cool technology innovations, if
Mm.
I let that kind of drift into my architect's persona, I will definitely, you know, create bad decisions.
Mm.
I will pick a technology that will maybe, within a year be, I don't know,
Yeah.
forgotten because it didn't grow
Mm.
so well, right?
Yeah.
Or something else kind of took its place.
Mm.
So if you're not, kind of a patient, wise guy uh,
Mm.
who can assess things and have a understanding of, okay, this makes sense long term,
Mm.
then you will not be a good enterprise architect. But that is, we're kind of bouncing off, from solution to enterprise.
Yeah.
But we've heard, a bunch of that and this and that architect. Like
Mm.
there's a cloud architect,
Yeah.
integration architect,
Yeah.
business architect. I don't know what home
Yeah.
garden architect. What are the key architecture positions, right?
Mm.
That you found to be really useful.
Mm.
Like, do we need cloud architects? What is the opposite or the other architect, non-cloud architect, right? What?
What's an what's a VMware architect?
Yes, do we have a VMware architect, cloud architect, and I don't know, server file, like, well,
I
what?
think those are functions of the organization silos, right? Where there
Yeah.
is a cloud team which
Mm-hmm.
specializes in everything cloudy. And
Yeah.
that's why you have a cloud architect, because they don't want somebody coming and telling them. So, to defend their own
Okay.
borders, they create a
Okay.
cloud architect position,
Okay.
right?
So
Otherwise, to me, it is a part of either enterprise or a solution architecture, right?
yeah,
It's very closely related to what your application is, what kind of resources it uses, whether it's
yeah.
cloud native, not native. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, I'm just thinking. So you have basically those kind of, let's call them specializations,
Mhm.
because there is this specific tribe, right,
Yeah.
that needs this kind of chief designer. They
Yeah.
will call him architect
Mhm.
because they said, okay, our area is so specific that we will have this position, because we will have cloud architect, network architect, we will have Salesforce architect, for instance, right?
Yes.
Which is
Yes.
a product specific architect,
Yeah.
totally new ball game. Uh, how do you basically? I mean, that's I would say a nonsense questions. How do you make those architects work together? Because if everybody is, bringing in their own best practices and principles, not
Hmm.
to say rules or
Yeah.
guidebooks, how do they work together in harmony?
That's where you get an enterprise architect, right?
Oh,
That's the
really? Yeah,
policeman.
yeah. I think the correct title is a principal architect. That's the architect of
Okay.
architects. Yeah.
And how is that different from an enterprise architect?
Because the actual responsibility of a principal architect is to manage architects. An enterprise
Across all of
architect,
these
yes,
technologies or products or all of them. Yeah.
yeah. And
Okay.
enterprise architecture is about the enterprise. So it doesn't. It's principal architect is kind of a
Okay. I
guild
have a
boss.
I have a friend who's a principal cloud architect.
Oh, that's a company that's gone wild.
Yeah. There are
They
not too
think
many
at one
principals in
point,
that school.
you
Yeah.
know, at one point somebody says, "Guys, we have too much cloud architects. We need a shepherd for those sheep." So
Principal cloud architect.
let's call that guy a principal cloud architect.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that this is just kind of a question of scale, and
Yeah.
really how many architects you need to manage and align, right?
Yes.
Especially if you have
Scale
this
or
kind.
that guy wanted to quit and they didn't want him to leave, so they created another position. Go have fun.
Yes. But and he's a chief principal architect, right?
Oh, chief. Okay.
Because your career path must not come to an end, right? So
Of course. Yeah.
you will have a chief or senior or chief senior principal, chief senior principal enterprise architect.
Sure.
So, sure, let's do that. Okay, so you're a guy, an engineer, let's say,
Yeah.
and you want to become an architect.
Hmm.
What do you do? I mean, I would first ask, why do you
What-
want to be an
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with- do you want to hurt yourself?
Yeah. Why
Uh,
are you having
why
suicidal thoughts?
and how, right? How
Yeah.
does one become an architect? What's your experience? I'll share mine.
Okay. So why? Because I want to do bigger things, and I
Mhm.
think that will have a more impact. Because as a developer, I'm constrained on what I have to do. I don't even know the entire application, don't know the entire functionality. I've been told this is what to use, so I want to use it. I want more freedom, so I want
Mhm.
more impact. So that's why. Plus, it sounds much better than a developer. An architect sounds cooler,
Yeah, for
pays me
sure.
more, arguably. So
Yeah,
that's why. Right now, the trickier question is how.
yeah,
Right.
and yeah,
Hmm.
and I mean that definitely depends on where you are in which kind of a company.
Hmm.
So if you're in a company that maybe doesn't have an architect, right? It's a kind of
Hmm.
a
Small.
startup-ish,
Yeah.
smaller, where basically architecture is handled. There's
Hmm.
from senior engineering staff. It's kind of a one of the tasks, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you know, again, depends on what's the mood of the organization,
Hmm.
but that maybe you have kind of an opportunity to model yourself as an architect and basically create the position for yourself,
Yeah. Hmm.
and
Yeah.
this is something, it's I believe it's tough, uh, because you need to kind of make everyone aware
Hmm.
that this is a discipline that needs to be handled by a guy, by a
Right,
role,
definitely.
right?
Yeah.
it's something that we should really take care of, and we should have a guy for that, right? And this is, I think, the biggest hurdles in organizations when they, let's say, kind of need to realize, okay, now we really need an architect, somebody that will look at a bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
And if you're in that kind of an organizations, you can do that by like applying yourself, like doing the extra yards, because
Playing that
by
role, basically.
playing
Before.
that role,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and starting to engage others on the architecture topics. uh, and this is again through one quality an architect should have, and this is good communication,
Yeah.
meaning I need to be able to successfully interpret my ideas or translate my ideas in common tongue,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
either through diagrams, through slide decks, through
Pictures, whatever. Yeah.
pictures, right? And they need to kind of show the benefit of what I'm selling, right, in a layman's term. And this is a quite important skill that you need to have. It's basically make you or break you. Some companies that do have architecture roles could have like this career path planned out in their vision of what architecture is. So career path, right?
Yeah.
So those kind of organizations that have this architecture team set up, they usually have kind of a career path, and this is something that also could be tricky for you. Maybe they have a solution architect, and the role of a solution architect in your company may completely differ than a solution architect in another company. So it's again on finding a best fit for you. But being an architect means you need to broaden your scope, and then try to basically mind the things that you usually don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you will start thinking on, or should be thinking on problems that you were basically not facing before,
Yeah.
right? And you will need to understand, the value and worth of legacy systems, and why should we keep them running.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's where the money is.
Yeah. So do you have any architecture myths, like that you were like architects are decision makers in ivory towers, right? This is a common conception of an architect.
I think it's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the places.
I unfortunately must agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but I do see the shift,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
There is
changing.
this. It's changing, and it's definitely, I would say, improving.
Yeah.
The question is, will we always need architects, or in this age of AI and engineering with AI, are the architects only roles we will need?
Because everything is coded by the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just playing the architect to a bunch of AIs.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. That's a tough one. And that's where people talk about losing the art of programming, right? If I don't program, then what am I actually doing? Am I just being a code reviewer and an assembler? That's it?
Yes.
I don't like
An
that then.
architect. An architect.
Yeah.
One thing that will remain. So if an architect is a tech person that needs to coordinate people and systems into working together, you will remain that even if the AI is coding.
Yeah.
If the architect is a person that needs to communicate with everyone else,
Hmm.
AI is pretty good at that currently. Can
Hmm.
it kind of be successful at that in bringing the message to life? That is, I think, we'll see.
Yeah.
And if the architect is just a decision maker,
Hmm.
like good or bad, then I mean, I'm assuming the AI today can make the same bad decisions as
Yeah.
architects do.
Sure.
So, so
Yeah.
no problem with that. Yeah, I don't know. What is the future for architects? Is it something that uh, is worth becoming in your mind?
So I think as long as there is that thing of humans in the loop, it is worth it. If we really do get to stage of artificial general intelligence, who knows if
But
it makes
but
sense.
yeah, but does it? So is it something that will gain more value? Do you think, or will kind of lose it? Because I have a sense that people don't appreciate architects.
I agree with that, and I think that's unfortunate, and it is more unfortunate in the AI era,
Mm-hmm.
because if developers become more comfortable with code generated by a machine and they don't really understand that code, and if you remove the architecture layer also, then where does this madness stop?
Yeah.
How do
Then
you
then
maintain this thing? How do you scale this thing,
yeah,
right?
we will definitely need to uh, have a kind of deep dive in the value of AI tools in coding and architecture in terms
Yeah.
of generating production grade systems, and
Mm-hmm.
not like to do apps and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
real working systems. How
Mm-hmm.
do they scale, and how do they behave in real life? Once you've done your vibe coding session,
Yeah.
does it actually work?
Yeah.
uh, because I don't know, I've been reading that this is kind of that the hype is dying down.
For the vibe coding thing.
Yeah, for the level of quality that the apps are produced, that
Hmm.
they are basically becoming this unmanageable, entangled, huge systems that don't do shit.
Yeah.
I mean, they do much less than the amount of code that was produced. In
Yeah.
terms of code to usability ratio is quite low, and of course hard to maintain, breaks, etc. And then uh, it's being kind of discarded for this kind of a use. Right?
Oh, but then you have the Amazons of the world who have just released that new IDE, Kiro, I think, just
Okay.
a day or two back, right? So when
What's that?
Amazon
I did.
releases, sorry?
So what's that? I didn't.
Oh, come on. Kiro, I think it's called
Key.
KIRO.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
definitely haven't heard.
that's okay.
We said that not architects don't need to be techie, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, let me
Yeah,
educate the architect then.
yeah, go right
It
ahead.
is it is Amazon's latest IDE, and
Okay,
it's said to be much better than Cursor,
okay,
and it has spec driven development, specification driven
yeah, yeah, yeah.
development. Yeah, right. So basically, you give it the epic or the user story, it demands that in an MD
Hmm.
format. Then it will lay
Okay.
out the plan. No, before the plan, even it needs an architecture, some flow
Hmm.
in terms of an MD file. Then it will create a plan for the development. Once you approve these, then it will start coding. Unlike the cursors of the world where you give it one line
Yeah.
prompt and it goes all berserk.
Yeah.
So sounds
Sounds
reasonable.
interesting.
Yeah. Sounds close-ish to what an architect would do.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
haven't had a chance to play with it yet, but it sounds cool. And it's free for now. Tudes
Oh,
uses Sonnet 3.4, I think, in
okay.
the back.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Well, I will test it and let you know.
cool. Let's do another one in a couple of days.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Do you have any final words for all the aspiring architects?
I think the future is interesting for architects. Um, what shape and form this will take is for anybody's guess. But my
Mm-hmm.
personal thought would be this is something very, very relevant. This has to be spoken about more and understood more by the decision makers on the
Yeah.
value of an architect with common sense. Because without
I,
that, the guys can be dangerous.
yes, yes, yes. I
And
agree.
there are a
I
lot of
agree.
them out there.
I would just like add hint. If you are able to explain to your
Mhm.
grandmother how Kubernetes works, you can
Yep,
be an architect. That's your
absolutely.
test.
I would change that to your mother in law.
Oh, yeah, even better. Yeah.
Grandmother has a soft corner, which
Yeah,
mother
yeah.
in law does.
Yeah,
That's the real taste.
yeah, yeah. She resents you from the start.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you're in real architect's position.
That's the zone to be in. If you can crack that, then you have the
Perfect.
capability.
Perfect. Savi, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a joy talking to you again. And to all the listeners, thank you for listening. And see you next time.
Cheers, guys. Bye.